We operate in making sure that the students go in to solve the problem of their member states, like the Pan-African University for Water and Energy. They go in there to get that training to give answers and solutions to the challenges of water, energy, climate change in their various member states. So we are actually trying to work it up. But rightly, if the political will does not match the policies, nothing can be done. That is why I'm very impressed that His Excellency the Governor of Kano is here. The political will must also have a vision. And if the political will matches the vision, then of course, competence. We have passed the level of speaking. We want implementation. How do we implement? The way to implement is this integration between the policymakers, the private sector, and those who invent, and the researchers. That is what I can say for that particular question.
Thank you.
No, at the point I said that Professor Idowu is in trouble was most of these questions are gathered to us.
But that's why we're celebrating 70 years. There's plenty of experience in the
Thank you. Yeah, I will attempt responding to the first one, and part of the fourth one. And the first intervention was to reflect that what the university needs to do when we want to embark on curriculum review. Normally, we try to contact the people in the private sector to find out what are we not doing well. And maybe 20 years, 25 years ago, we used to teach our students a 4-term program. But now, maybe, I'm not sure we still do some of those things, except maybe those who are in computer science or engineering. So we know appreciate the fact that curriculum review is an ongoing thing. And for us, we have the Center of Excellence in teaching and learning. So we look at how do we improve on what we are doing, even the mode of communication. Because we find out that the lecturers in the university system, they are all BBC. They were born before computers. When they are all born before computers. Like I told you myself, up to the time I finished my first degree, I never even saw a computer, no place of using one. But now your cell phone is almost as good as a computer, so things are changing. And the skills that was sufficient 20 years ago will then be obsolete in the world of 2018. So we understand that even the job that most of the students are going to do when they graduate, the jobs are not even yet defined. And when we were in 30 years ago, we were using a typewriter, what do you call this, cyclostyling machine, and all those are obsolete. So we know that we have to do a lot more. That when we want to do a curriculum, that was one that we did at University of a few years ago. Professor Olopade, he was a member of the team, and he has since gone beyond that to lead the other universities in Africa to do the medical curriculum. We contacted the people in the private sector as for their inputs, and some of the students who finished, when you finish 5 years ago, what are those skills that you think are still relevant to the world of work? And one other thing, not directly to the question, but that I think I need to mention, but when I spoke a short while ago, I addressed the issue of access, that we don't have enough spaces for our students in the conventional universities. So one of the solutions to that, or a partial solution to that, is open distance learning. And of course, the government of Nigeria also has the National Open University of Nigeria. Then the second one, comment has to do with whether we should discourage some of our youth from seeking higher education abroad. Well, I think it will be very difficult because we all talk of internationalization. I think the thing that we need to do is to make sure that our universities, the academic calendar is stable. Like I mean, she's proud to say that as a Cameroonian, she did all her degrees at the University of Ibadan. And the quality of education she received is not inferior to what she would have received in Manchester or Cambridge or Stanford. So if our own calendar is stable and people think our universities are world class, then people will come from other universities, other parts of the world to our country. So we cannot be in a silo to say that our people will not go out. Of course, it's a free world. Those who think they have the resources will go, and those who don't even have the visa, they go through and they go routes, and you can't stop them. You can't stop them. Then just the last one, as to what we are doing for the students, yeah, because there are a lot of issues. Cultism, students are now using hard drugs, tramadol, I don't even know what it is, and partly because of a peer influence. So we have the Center for Social Orientation, and I think these are some of the initiatives that the National Journalist Commission they insist. In fact, yesterday I got an email to say that the Office of the National Security Advisor in Abuja, they are inviting some university professors next week to discuss some of these issues of student, antisocial behaviors among students, cultism, hard drugs, and the rest of them, because they all have security implications. And quite a number of students are now having issues with their mental health for so many reasons. Some of them, they spend so much time on their cell phones or their laptops. So it's also, some of these also have health effects. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, go on.
I just wanted to mention more about the youth. At the continental level, we have what we call the Special Technical Committee for Youth, Culture and Sport. We believe that we need to go to Pan-Africanist ethics and values in order to institute the right kind of moral attitude on the youth of Africa. That is why one of our decisions, which is the decision of the Assembly of Head of State, is on the African Renaissance and Pan-Africanism. And we're insisting that civics must be taught at all levels so that citizenship must belong to the nation, must join together. Again, we also have what we call the African Youth Charter, which was endorsed in July 2006, and which is a framework that seeks to promote and protect young people by reinforcing provisions contained in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights with a youth lens. So the Assembly of Head of States made that African Youth Charter to be established between 2009 and 2018 as a decade on the youth, on the development of the youth of Africa. And they called this the African Youth Decade Plan of Action, so as to ensure the implementation of the Charter. This served as a response to the need for strengthening national capacities to deliver more effectively on youth empowerment and development. It is very, very essential. This youth board we are talking about is the pride of Africa. And for the transformation of the Africa we want by 2063, if we don't give the right competencies and the right skills to this youth, then we cannot achieve the vision of our 2060.
Thank you. We're going to go for another round of questions. Just not to discriminate against those who are not in the room here, you can still tweet a question if you want, which is #CH, which is uppercase Africa. So let's get a bit of gender parity. So you, sir, just heard from the governor here first, please, sir.
Thank you very much. All protocol duly observed. My own is not a question per se, but a wake-up call, a warning. You see, this issue of population in Africa is a reality, the increasing population. And one important factor that divides the population of the world into two is education. Whether the population will be an asset depends on education. Whether the population will be a liability depends on education. Now we seem to concentrate with the population of Africa, that Africa will be highly populated. Let me give you one document now. The 10 most literate countries of Africa. This is from UNESCO. 10 most literate countries of Africa. We have Seychelles, Equatorial Guinea, South Africa, Sao Tome and Principe, Libya, Namibia, Mauritius, Cape Verde, Botswana, Swaziland, Zimbabwe. We all know that these are small countries in Africa. In terms of population, Swaziland 1.3 million people, Botswana 2.3, Cape Verde 550,000, Mauritius 2.6 million, Libya 6.4 million, Sao Tome 209,000, South Africa 57.4 million, Equatorial Guinea 1.3 million, Seychelles 95,000. The population of students in Kano State. Now, it's over 3 million. The population of those outside the school system is also over 3 million. So we can, if we are talking about Africa, we can confidently say the level of literacy in Africa is inversely proportional to population. Are we safe? We say, I'm not saying it's directly proportional. I'm saying it's inversely proportional to population. And the way our discussion is going on, it seems that we are working on a system that literacy level will be directly proportional to population. So I think we better examine these issues very, very seriously. We have not been talking. We said Britain has maintained a level of population for over how many years, and Nigeria is going further, Africa is going further. But what are we doing in order, since we don't have the economy is weak, since the economy is weak, we work on the infrastructure facilities, of course, there is no doubt about that, but at the same time, we have to control the other side. Otherwise, why is the meeting point? Even now, as we are now, we are complaining of lack of funds in order to improve the quality of education in Africa. And we have seen that this population will continue to increase. And we have not seen how our economy will continue to blossom. So I think we should examine the issue of population explosion in Africa as well, if we want the education to come up. Thank you and God bless.
I'm not going to be able to take all people who want to ask questions. For those who are live streaming, just to ensure that you know that that was His Excellency the Governor Umar Abdullahi of Kano State who was just making those remarks. The gentleman here, you've been very patient,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
Can you just wait for the microphone so we could, there's a microphone, sir, just there. Tell us who you are and please a concise
My
question.
name is Eldred Parry. I taught the first group of medical students at the University of Ibadan. I saw the Nigerian flag raised for the first time on the campus of UCH Ibadan. I was Professor of Medicine at Ahmadu Bello for many years and the founding Dean of the University of Ilorin, Faculty of Health Sciences. So I speak with experience of seeking to make education relevant and not necessarily going in old paths which are fashionable worldwide and well-financed. We've heard about demographic growth, but we have not heard about the distribution age. What steps are being taken in universities to address the issues of the mega cities and the practical needs of those cities in the education of today's young?
Thank you very much. So I'm going to Musa over there. Yeah. Please, I'll try and get 3 or 4 questions in on this, and this will be the last round.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'm Mahmoud Ibrahim Beneji, a professor at the Time Extension. I'm managing the Official Development Program of Kano State, Nigeria. I would like to corroborate with His Excellency the Governor of Kano State for this population growth in Africa. Specifically in Nigeria, in May this year, the chairman of the National Population Commission mentioned in a meeting in London, in the US, that the population of Nigeria at that time, almost 2-3 months ago was 106 million people, out of which 60% or more are youth, if you define what is a youth. Now, if you look at that figure, and rightly mentioned by the Vice Chancellor, almost annually, you see 1.5 million Nigerians writing JAM, to get places in the Nigerian university system. But only 300,000 or thereabouts are admitted. Others will be left roaming the streets. And the next year is going to be the same thing. So I don't know, I would like to ask the Vice Chancellor, why is our universities not growing vertically? They are always growing horizontally, meaning that, like University of Ibadan, University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and ABU, the first crop of universities in Nigeria, they're supposed to be admitting something like 200,000 students in a year. Of course, you mentioned the issue of quality yesterday, but I think that the need for these universities to expand the facilities, to be admitting a large number, so as to get out of these problems. The issue of distance learning is also important, because we have just one university that's called now National Open University. We should have a lot of this system in Nigeria, coupled with the centers for entrepreneurship innovations. I think this will help a lot in seeing some of our youth employed, or admitted into the university system. This CISA, or CISA, I came to know of it last year, because the first phase is talking about 2016 to 2025, right? So I want to know more about this. How far have you gone on this CISA project? Thank you.
Okay. So this particular side of the room is so quiet that gives you the chance right at the back there with the long arm to ask the question. You, sir.
All right, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Olushola Olugo. I'm a postgraduate student here in the UK.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I have about 3 questions to ask quickly.
No, one please.
Okay.
One. Even though this side's been quiet, just one.
Okay. I think the biggest of, all my question is, what are we doing to connect the academic institution to the industries? Because, it's most of what you have said has to do with the industry driving the curriculum, the activities and all. Because sometimes I see a big disconnect between the universities, higher institution, and the industries, and I think that's a big thing. And then what are we doing to Pan-Africanize our curriculum? I think that is also important. Thank you.
Thank you. Both good questions. There's a lady there, please. The lady there. There's a microphone just been given to you. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. My name is Tina Farm. I'm a governor at the London School of Economics and Commissioner for the Independent Commission for Aid Impact. I think that core to the challenge is research. Research excellence of Africa's higher education institutions. We know that on the list of the top 500 higher education institutions in the world, only a few, less than 10, I would safely say, are from sub-Saharan Africa. Linked to the last question, we're not going to address these issues unless African HEIs are able to raise their game with regarding research. Now, the UK government launched a fund in November 2015, £1.5 billion, called the Global Challenges Research Fund. I wondered whether both of the speakers have heard of it, and if so, what are your suggestions on how Africa's higher education institutions can raise their game? Thank you very much.
Okay. And the gentleman with the green shirt there, you sir. That's the last question. I'm sorry about we're running out of time.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. Thank you to both the presenters. My name is Bulam Bukati. I am the Sub-Saharan African Analyst for the Tony Blair Institute. I have taught in Bayero University in Kano for some 5 years and have lived in Kano for some 10 years until last year, and have taught also in secondary schools in Yobe State. And one of the debates, and this will be introducing something new, but into the review issue, is that what inhibits, or one of the things that inhibits creativity and quality research in higher education in Africa is the issue of language. And I think the Vice Chancellor mentioned this in the passing in his presentation, talking about English as a second language, but it is the medium of instruction in most English-speaking Africa, and French is that for the, French-speaking West Africa. And the debate has always been that, can a country develop when it educates its youth using a foreign language? Of course, Nigeria has, hundreds of ethno-tribal groups, but then we know that we have Yoruba, Hausa, and Igbo as the major languages. And I don't speak Yoruba, but Yoruba is not less fascinating than English. And Hausa is a very beautiful English full of idioms and, creativity. But then yet, Hausa teachers, Hausa lecturers teach Hausa students in English language, and therefore our students battle with understanding the language first before talking about the concepts. This plays out even at the national level. We mock our presidents for being unable to speak English. When Theresa May says Sanunku Dazwa, we say, oh, she speaks Hausa, and we are impressed. But our presidents speak the little English they can, President Jonathan and President Buhari, and we mock them, and we equate intelligence with the ability to speak English. Now, are you, investing some into research on the issue of creativity, quality research, and language in the, are you considering language in the process of curriculum review? And then finally, I think if we are talking about development in Africa, we can't do without talking about peace. And when you look at the conflicts raging in Africa currently, then you may be tempted even to lose hope. What are our higher education institutions doing, and the African Union, to instill quality education that will promote national cohesion and also, bring down ethno-religious stereotypes in Africa? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have to say, the most successful speech I think that the British High Commissioner in Nigeria did recently was when he did it in pidgin English. So, I think it's a sign of how things are actually changing. Commissioner, maybe you would like to make some final reflections on the discussions that you've heard, or answer some of the questions.
Why the Vice Chancellor is responsible for the report?
That's why you're a commissioner. Prof.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Well, I agree with His Excellency, the Governor of Kano State, and that was why I said I sympathize with our political leaders in self-education, because population keeps increasing. And of course, population can actually be an asset, but it means you have to continue to invest more and more in the education, in spite of other competing demands. Like he said, it was a comment, but we need to, the population can also be an asset, but we have to invest more in education, and also maybe encourage the private sector to also collaborate with the government and academia. And our colleague from Kano also alluded to that he said we need to expand assets. Like I mentioned it yesterday at the House of Commons in the interaction that we had, it's often very difficult for you to be expanding assets in the face of limited facilities, and also ensure quality. Like I said, to give you a concrete example, we admit only about 3,500 undergraduates when JAMB allows us to admit up to 7,000. But despite of the fact that we have limited our admission, one of our chemistry classes in Lorry level, we admit there are about 1,900 students taking that course. Meanwhile, the largest lecture center that we have can barely accommodate 1,200. So it becomes a problem. Even members of staff. There was a case, a lady was complaining to me that she doesn't have office space. And I said, well, you are lucky. Your husband works in the same department. So you can be sharing offices. So that maybe we have the point of the employee purpose. So you can get through with so it's a major challenge. Now, our faculty of arts, for example, students don't have a lecture theaters, lecturers don't have offices, so it becomes a problem. So if we have the facilities, then we'll be favorably disposed to expanding the access. And like was also mentioned by our colleague from the London School of Economics, like I also addressed with the fact that even though we have to teach students, the individual strength that we can have as universities in terms of our research excellence, in terms of the output. Like you rightly mentioned, the top 500 universities in the world, I mean, maybe outside of South Africa, you don't get any university, I mean, the most of econometrics. But not those universities in the West talks about econometric ranking. I mean, you can talk of Times Higher Education and ARWU and the rest of them. But when we look at the indices, then it's very difficult for us to compete. And I mean, I was in the university in South Africa, some years, the University of Pretoria. I observed that the University of Pretoria, they don't produce more PhDs than the University of Ibadan. Maybe they do produce less PhDs per year than the University of Ibadan. But when you look at their research output, it outstrips our own by several factors. And I was asking my colleague what was the problem. Part of the issue is that they have better facilities in their laboratories and the rest of them. Then they have facilities to engage postdoctoral fellows. So related to that, we don't have the critical mass. I cannot employ somebody with PhD and he won't teach, he will be conducting research. It's not possible. Because the panels are already grossly understaffed. So he has to teach, and teach. We give time left for research. So all of them are interrelated. So we don't have funds for postdoctoral fellows. And I know that our police team made effort to apply for research funding, but there is a major problem. Because they have to teach students and supervise them for their projects and all that. Creativity in higher education, I think that is very fundamental. I know that the late Professor Babs Fakunwa, who later became the Minister of Education in Nigeria, he tried to promote this indigenous language. He had the Yoruba experiment at the but I think it's since collapsed. Because some of us who are lecturers, professors, we speak to our children in the English language, which we don't even understand very well anyway. We think it's a trend to teach your children and words having to communicate with them in English language rather than our mother tongue. Maybe it's the colonial mentality, but I think it's really a fundamental issue that like somebody like me, I think in Yoruba before I translate to English. So it becomes a problem. Whereas it just thinks straight in English. So and there are some English words that some Yoruba words that I cannot usually translate to English. So it becomes a challenge. But of course, on the other hand, English is the most widely spoken language in the world. So I mean, when people who are French speaking, they also learn English. Yeah, better off than those of us who are from English, where English is the official language. I think I've answered most of the difficult questions. I think you can take care of the rest.
What steps have been taken to redress the issues of megacities?
Urbanization. Yeah, I think that is because youths always migrate to the urban centers where, because those are areas where they think there are employment opportunities. So, I mean, I know the population of Campus Valley will have doubled in the last 10 years. Simply Lagos is impossible. We don't even know how many people live in Lagos. So, it depends on who is counting. So, and you have problems for sanitation, water, electricity, and it gives a lot of problems for the policymakers, the governors, the commissioners. So, I think it's a major problem because we continue to have people migrating from the rural areas to the urban centers because of the opportunities, and I think there's a good life for them in the cities. Then you have urban slums, so it becomes a major challenge. So we need things like urban renewal, and most state governments may not be able to afford the cost because as there are some one problem, then the population then you give up hope. So I think that is the problem that the urban areas, and also with climate change. I think even recently there was flood in Katsina in the part of. So that is talk about something that we have all these natural disasters that government will not have been able to plan for. And that emergency the urban issues that I think they are also projects because it's trying to address this. We have the Department of Urban Carbon. We also have a center for social development. These are just we take a little bit of we need to do a little more. Thank you.
Vice Chancellor, thank you very much. Commissioner, any final thoughts?
Yes, thank you very much. In fact, the Vice Chancellor has given all the answers. The significant question that we asked, what are we doing as AU to make sure that we're able to implement the deliverables for all these questions that you asked? In fact, in asking those questions, I am proud that you asked those questions because they are very integral. And it means that each and every one of us have taken responsibility of our mandate in our different profiles to make sure that the response we give today can answer to the question that Africa needs to move towards that vision of an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful Africa. The African Union strategy for investing in youth was the topic of last year. And it was based on 4 big pillars: education and skills development, health and well-being, employment and economic development, and good governance. These are the 4 pillars in which we based the theme of last year on harnessing demographic dividend through investment in youth. Now, His Excellency have raised very serious questions, and I'm happy that as a policy maker, raising those questions means that he's not one of those who sit on their armchairs and get comfortable with the title, but there's a burning need within to provide answers to the challenges that we face in the society. These are the kind of leaders that we want. When the political leader moves with the confident idea that transformation must start even from where we take off our own mandate. The other question is about CSR 2016-2025. The Continental Education Strategy for Africa is a decision of the Assembly of Head of States. It means that all head of states know about this CSR 2016-2025. We have what we call the STCEST. This is the Specialized Technical Committee for Education, Science and Technology. And this is a ministerial meeting. And before each STC meeting that we hold, senior experts from the Ministries of Education, the Ministries of Scientific Education, they come together. They look at the regional challenges and then they prefer a solution to these ideas. Then the Ministerial Council now come up to that same STC 2 days after the senior experts have deliberated. And they look at the challenges and the solutions proffered. Then they take it off to the Executive Council. The Executive Council is made up of the ministers of foreign affairs from all the 55 member states that make up the African Union. They also look at it and forward it to the heads of state who now adopt it as a decision. Now, CSR 2016-2025, as a decision of the Assembly of Head of State, put education at the center of the transformation of the Africa we want. If we do not have the right kind of education, the right kind of science, the right kind of technology, and the right kind of innovation, what transformations are we talking about? We even consider that the African diaspora represents the 6th region of the African Union. Why? Because the brain drain that have migrated down to the other Asia, Pacific, Caribbean, etc. Even in Britain, America, Canada, Australia, everywhere that you can find Africans, they are at the top peak of their various professions, and they are giving the best. Why can't they come back home and give that very best to Africa? Because the environment is not conducive, and the political will do not move with the very question that my young son introduced there: how do we link the policies to the industries in order for us to walk the talk and bring concrete, practicable, doable things that we can touch with all our innovations? It is very, very essential. And that is why the Continental Education Strategy for Africa becomes a flagship of the African Union to make sure that things are put in place, the right expertise, with the right state policy makers, with the right industries, to make sure that we deliver the goods to the people of Africa. Now, we have what we call the Pan-African University. They were talking about the Open University of Nigeria. The Pan-African the Assembly of Head of State have taken a decision on what we call PAVU. PAVU is an acronym, PAVU, that is the Pan-African Virtual University. To put in place the place to consolidate the place of distant learning in the transformation of the Africa we want through lifelong learning and equipping the people with the right competencies and with the right skills. All of us have mobile phones. In many of our villages now back in Africa, we can have access to mobile phones. But what do we do with the mobile phones out of social media? Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, etc. But in Uganda, there are true Chemonix and Food for Africa. They use the mobile phone to empower the rural agricultural woman on how to take statistics of what she produces and how she can send this to the market in Uganda and how she can get more money for the produce that that the farmer produces in the rural area. Now, what are the ideals of the CESA 2016-2024? 2025. CESA 2016-2025 is aligned with SDG goal number 4. SDG goal number 4 is to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. The target 4.1 of SDG 4 is ensure that all girls and boys complete free, equitable, and quality primary and secondary education. What have we done in the AU? The AU has taken the decision now that children not free education only at the secondary, at the primary level, but it must go to the secondary level. Because if it goes to the secondary level, teenage marriage will be stopped. By the time a child will be finishing from secondary school, at least you will be 16, 17, 18. Not the likes of the 13, 14s that we are hearing getting into marriages, and at the end of the day, the health consequences are unthinkable. Now, we talk about the promotion of the value of multiple forms of education, including formal, non-formal, informal, distance learning, and lifelong learning to meet the diverse needs of young people in CESA 2016-2024. We talk about the promotion of STEM education and training, and it is very, very essential for the transformation of the Africa we want. We talk about a revitalized vocational education and training relevant to current and prospective employment opportunities and expand access by developing centers in rural and remote areas. I remember that one time in Nigeria when we talk about the Green Revolution.